everybody. Pop Culture Curator here. Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited. Today we are covering Star Trek the Animated Series. I believe it's episode number 4, The Lorelei Signal. And first things first, I'd like to welcome the people on my panel. Hello, Jill. How you doing?
Hello. Thank you for having me on today, Pop Culture Curator. I'm
Oh,
excited to talk about the Lorelei Signal.
so am
Episode,
I. I really love it. I really love that show. And I think it's timely now with Nichelle Nichols passing recently.
right?
And Scotty, how you doing there, sir?
Not bad at all, sir. Also looking forward to yet another brand spanking new episode of Star Trek that I hadn't seen before.
Oh, that's so. I wish I could trade places with you. I would love to just try to experience these for the first time. Maybe I need to get amnesia or something, right? And Gorilla's random thoughts. How are you doing there, sir?
I'm doing good.
All right, you do it. You having a good day there? You take care of your little barbecue.
It's done smoking.
Okay. And have you had a chance to watch this episode recently, Gorilla?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're all on the same page. I wanted to obviously I wanted to shout out to everyone in the chat. Captain Time Lord was here early. Thank you for joining us, Captain Time Lord. It's really great to see you here. I'm not sure if you're how familiar you are with Star Trek the Animated Series, but I hope you enjoy it. I think you'll love this review today. I think Jill is a wonderful host. She brings a lot of information. She has a great book for reference. So I think
Yes.
yes, and I know I'm biased, but in my opinion, I think we have the best Star Trek reviews on the net. In between my TAS and her TOS, I think we cover more than anybody else does, at least from what I've seen, because I have been looking at other reviews, and they don't cover nearly the ground that we do. So I'm very proud of our show here, and anybody in the chat that comes along, I want to welcome you to my channel. I very humbly appreciate it. I
Well, thanks for having
gained,
us.
it is absolutely my pleasure. I've actually gained a small handful of subs here in the last week, and that makes me very happy. I don't expect a lot, but any few that always helps.
Yeah. Was
Right,
that
because
after
you lost me.
your video there that you posted on who the father of Star Trek is, or was that before?
Before and after, I did get some subs after the last review from last week, and then I've gotten a handful after I posted my video on the father of Star Trek.
Okay. 'Cause I know I shared that one out to like 6 different groups on Facebook there because it was short enough, not no hour-long live stream they had to watch.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Really
been getting.
interesting video. I didn't know any of the stuff about the other guy. I was completely wrong. I thought it was going to be a battle of the genes, but that Finnish gentleman or Norwegian.
Denmark.
What was his name again? Denmark. Sorry,
Uh-huh.
Europe, but the wrong one.
No problem.
No, they're all the same.
Ib Melchior.
Hmm.
For you, those of you in the chat, if you have not heard of it, I have a video I just posted a few days ago called "Who's the Father of Star Trek." So it kind of, and please don't hate me. I've got some people did take it personally, and I'm trying to stress to everybody I'm a huge fan of Gene Roddenberry. In fact, I saw him twice at conventions. I've been a Star Trek fan since I was crawling around in a diaper. So when I posted that video, I mean no harm to Star Trek or to Gene Roddenberry or any of the fans.
Well, I think you make it very clear in the video as well. You're just presenting the evidence, if you will.
Well, yeah, I know, but it was kind of funny because Bird of Prey, I was talking to him, I think yesterday or the day before, and I said, "So what'd you think?" And he said, "Well, at first I kind of got defensive. I don't
Me
think
too.
that I know Jill, and I'm so sorry, and I
No,
knew that was
that's
going to
fine.
happen. That's why I was trying to put it in a
You did.
positive spin on it as much as possible. And
It's an
I was
extraordinary claim. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
yeah, and well, and not only that, instead of just trying to pull something out of my hat, I wanted to kind of put a dual timeline so you can kind of compare what the two people have done. Instead of just saying, well, here's my opinion on this and here's my opinion on that.
And you did a good job of that. You can only present what you know, and you did. And that's an interesting proposition.
Well, it is something I had to get off my chest because I've known about that for a few years, and I haven't seen anybody else discuss it on the internet yet, and that's why I feel like maybe now's the time. But I hope people are not too offended. I don't think I've gotten any down votes. I don't know if we can see our down votes, and we have another visitor.
Oh yeah, you can see them in the analytics.
Analytics. God, I will check that out. I'm still getting used to all that stuff. Uh, and I am honest. If I get down votes, that's fine. Like I said in the video, people are fine. Are they're totally open to be honest about it, which is that's the reason why I put it out there. Before we get started on this review, do any of you have any questions or comments before we get started? And
Oh,
this is also
this
go ahead.
episode here though. Can I do a little spoiler stuff?
I guess it's not a spoiler because the show is so old.
Yeah.
All right. This damn episode was so damn woke. That the women they had to take a woman in charge, and only all the women there had to save the day. And sure, it's only the women that survive on the damn planet. If anybody can't figure it out, I'm being sarcastic.
Well, and then they had to get a whole other ship full of women to come. My God,
I
the
know,
soy boys.
seriously, yeah. The men were all a bunch of cowards and wimps, right?
Yeah.
This is exactly what Scotty was saying he's going to do.
And sure. Sure, all the men are dazzled by the women there. They're so dazzled they couldn't do their damn jobs or nothing.
And we are joined by another guest, PvP. Hello, PvP.
Oh, hi, guys. Gee, I don't know what happened there. I tried to join a minute ago and clicked on something and it got all messed up. So I had to come back on a second time to get in the studio.
Oh,
I don't know what happened.
Well, I'm glad you tried a second time. Welcome. It's worth it.
Yeah.
It's really good to see you.
Oh, thank you. I
Hello.
thought hi everybody. Hi Jill. Hi Scotty. Hi Random Grill of Thoughts. Yeah, I just wanted to pop on today because I've known that you've been doing the animated series for a few weeks now, but I usually am working this time on a Monday night until about 8 o'clock my time, which would be like another 2 hours almost. So I thought, well, this might be the only chance I ever get to pop on the animated show. So I thought, what the heck, might as well pop on
Great
and
to see ya.
see what's what. Thank you, Jill. Nice to see you too.
Yeah, in that case, I feel honored. So thank you very much for spending your valuable time with us.
Oh, it's my honor to have the link in StreamYard and get a chance to participate. I always enjoy popping on panels when possible.
Jill, you triggered my stream elements. I don't know how you did that. I guess it likes you better than it likes me.
No, it actually started working again like a couple days ago.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. It wasn't just me. Is that right?
Right.
They must have gotten a lot of complaints.
Oh, was there issues with StreamYard?
Stream Elements. It's the bot we
Oh.
use to post links in our chat
Oh, okay.
and commands. Yeah. Well, thank you, Jill. I didn't know that, but I'm glad I do now.
Yeah.
Which means I can start adding more commands. I kind of abandoned and given up on it, but now that it's working again, I'll start adding more people and more commands in there. Thank you. That was your
You're
fault.
welcome.
Okay, and unless anybody has any comments or any suggestions, I believe we're going to start the stream. And I know Jill has a busy night planned. She's got her family and her kids, and plus it's a holiday, so I don't want to cause too many delays. Pleasant Valley Picker, CA, good to see you there.
Yeah. And for reference for these episodes, I cite from the Star Trek. Any kind of facts I say come from the official guide for the animated series. And I'm going to need a minute.
Pizza.
For sure.
Go for it. Go, and I'll take a slice.
Oh, that's funny.
Best way to do it. Pizza for Labor Day, huh?
No labor on Labor Day. Order in. I guess that is labor, though. There are other people doing it. We need replicators, people.
Yeah,
I'm working on it. The mechanics are just a little bit more harder than I thought they would be.
Well, we appreciate your service.
Well, for me
yeah, I
to
wish I had a
celebrate,
replicator.
for me to celebrate Labor Day, I did eat out for lunch, but I gave them a big tip.
Good,
I
good.
thought people
Oh,
who
okay.
are working deserve recognition instead of people screaming and throwing things at them, right?
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be working today. It's nice
So
to have a day
No,
off.
no. But if you are, everybody, shout out. If you run into people who are working, I don't care if you're buying coffee or buying a donut, give them an extra big tip today. That's what Labor Day is for. Appreciate those that are having to work, especially those that work the service industry.
Hmm.
right.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
So, Star Trek 365.
Oh, the Star Trek, the official guide for the animated series is what I use for any facts today. And the Lorelei Signal is the episode for today. It's the fourth episode in season 1, and it first aired on September 29th, 1973. It is named after a German legend of a siren named Lorelei, who uses singing to lure sailors into crashing. And it was written by Margaret Arman. And usually during this time period, women who wrote for television would use their initials, like DC Fontana did, Dorothy Fontana. So a male
Same with
audience
books.
wouldn't.
Same with yes. Sorry, yeah. Same with books. S.E. Hinton, The Outsiders. Yeah.
Yeah, so a
Sorry.
male
Go ahead.
audience wouldn't dismiss the episode for having been written by a woman.
Yeah.
But Armin didn't do this, so you see her full name in the credits here.
And so I got a question there. So the Germans plagiarized the Greeks then.
Well, yeah, the from the sirens do come from Greek mythology, sure, and it's a story that is retold. It was
Yeah,
directed by
mostly, and yeah, it's popular from Homer's Odyssey. Sorry, go
yes,
ahead, Joe.
Homer's on. Yes, I do mention that here too. Yes, it was
Oh,
directed by Hal Sutherland, and what's really lovely is this comment that Nichelle made while recording her lines directly to Margaret. She said, "Good for you, Margaret. It's about time." And
Nice.
Hmm.
I need to step away again. Sorry.
no problem. And from what I heard too, that Nichelle Nichols didn't know that it was centered around her until she read the script. So I'm sure that was a happy day for her.
Yeah, I can imagine. She must have been pretty thrilled when she realized she was the central character in the episode.
Yeah, it's too bad they didn't kind of carry that over into the new movies. It would have been nice. They still could have expanded her as Scotty and the other characters a little bit more. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to fault them for that.
Well, I guess it's kind of difficult when you've got the big three on screen. You've kind of got to give them a central role, I suppose, in most stories. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but a lot of it too was Shatner, because a lot of the actors did ask for bigger roles, and apparently, no offense to Shatner, everybody, I'm a Star Trek fan, up first and foremost, but there's a lot of infamous stories about William Shatner taking people's lines away
Taking
from them.
lines, yes,
Mm-hmm.
that's true.
Yeah,
He did do
Mhm.
that. There's a
yeah,
lot of evidence for that.
right.
Further,
And
Armin said
go ahead.
about writing this episode, I was hesitant when writing the script, but I realized that Lieutenant Uhura is a qualified officer aboard the USS Enterprise, able to take command. I spoke to Dorothy and she agreed. Gene Roddenberry said, by all means, it should be done. Although the book does point out that Uhura is so busy actually saving the day that we don't actually get to see her in the captain's chair.
No, but I think she's totally believable. I would trust her any day.
Me too.
Sounds like somebody's having a good time.
Yeah, Labor Day, the day that kids like to scream. I don't know.
No, don't apologize. We're fine. I think it's very nice. So it's no
Yeah, it's
problem.
no worries.
So the captain's log explains that the Enterprise is investigating an unfamiliar area of space where Federation ships have been disappearing for 150 years. This problem is so severe that the Romulans and Klingons have put aside their differences to confer with their mission ships to determine that these ships are disappearing every 27.346 years.
Mm-hmm.
And this sentence is kind of just brushed aside, but this kind of diplomatic convergence of the races who are typically enemies even before the movies get into this, it's kind of a big deal to me. I don't know why, but it's just neat to see.
Yeah, I
Oh,
guess
yeah.
it was such a threat to both of them. And Kapla, Bird of
Yeah.
Prey, thank you for joining us. I hope you're doing well there.
Hey,
Kapla, bird of prey.
this could be the beginning of the planet of galactic peace from Star Trek
Yeah.
V.
Right. It's pretty neat.
Galactic peace.
I heard you say galactic peace again. Interesting.
Well, Gorilla dropped out and came back. I think Gorilla might have a little
Oh,
bit of an
okay.
echo.
Oh, okay.
No,
But it's better than
I had to look at my phone till it reloaded there, so I know what you guys are talking about.
Okay,
Okay.
you're fine. So at first, it seemed like this was going to be like a Bermuda Triangle kind of mystery, but what happens is more like something from the Odyssey by Homer. And
And they do like a countdown, like a timer to be at that location at the exact point when they're supposed to be stolen or find out what's
Yes.
what's taking the other ships. Is that the plan?
yes, they're just putting
Okay.
themselves in the situation where they can disappear, and they're putting themselves in danger to figure out what's happening.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Kind of crazy, right?
busy
To do
writing
that
a
all
script,
alone.
Captain.
All right, hey, where's Chekhov?
Yeah, he did get to write an episode.
Yes. So Uhura gets a subspace radio signal, which she broadcasts throughout the ship. And, in this case, Kirk asks her to put it... Okay, you know what? I'm really sorry, but there's a lot of stuff going on in my house right now, and I really need to figure out what's going on. I'll be right back.
For sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go
Okay.
for it.
Go ahead, Joe.
And Jill will probably end up recapping, but the signal goes through the ship, and the dudes are all like, "Well, that sounds like music, right?"
Right, and not only that,
Yeah.
but they all are getting visions in their head. They're all seeing visions.
Well, it does take a little while,
It does.
but yeah, they're seeing visions of, and everyone's just going gaga over the signal that's been implanted in their head, which I thought, it's kind of like a Naked Time sort of situation.
Or kind of like the Man Trap. Because they
Kinda
all see
reminds-
something different.
Kind of reminds me of the Harry Mudd episode in season 1.
Oh, Mud's
Yeah,
winning?
but Harry Mudd drugged him.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, this the whole feminine charm type of thing having an effect
Oh,
on
yeah.
crew members.
Well,
Yeah.
if you want a better comparison, be more like the episode of Enterprise where the Ryan women that were in the brig there were secreting a pheromone that only affected the men, and
Mhm.
well, actually, it turned the men all horny and it turned the women into bitches.
Okay.
Well, that's a
Okay.
way to put it.
What is happening?
Oh, we're trying to figure out what because the signal goes through the ship, right? And the gentlemen are taken by it, and they say it sounds like music, and so we were sort of comparing it to other episodes that are where the men get flummoxed.
Oh, okay.
And so, but that
right.
sorry.
We also explained how all the men were getting ready to start seeing visions.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I didn't
Right,
want to
they
jump in
don't-
too much.
But that's okay. Yeah. Well, they don't realize that broadcasting this to the whole ship is going to be a danger. And they especially don't expect it to affect them physically. But I guess the one thing that does make sense is that Captain Kirk puts the ship on yellow alert, because not only because of the signal, but also because of the fact that they're in a space where a ship is lost every 27 years. And it's this signal that's the catalyst. All of the men, even Spock, are affected and describe the signal as like a summons. But Uhura doesn't see it this way.
Do you think? I know this is kind of off topic, but would the signal have the same effect on a gay man?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That's a very good question.
No, I got a better question here.
Sure.
What if it was a woman, but she had identified as a man.
This is the
Oh, here we
wokest
go.
episode.
Right, here we go. Trans. Okay, what if it's a trans who just had an operation but isn't completely through it? Right. What if it's a lesbian? Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. I mean, what about lesbian women on the crew? There must have been some.
Well, they said later is the men have like secretes a certain chemical that causes them to age, but it didn't affect the women there. So
Yeah.
the
So it's like
lesbian part wouldn't affect them.
It's like a testosterone thing or something.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like a testosterone magnet.
And then they have to recharge every 27 years. Is this like Lady Ponfar, but instead of 7 years, it's 27? They just need men once every 27 years.
No, they're more like vampires.
That's true.
Yeah.
Wait, so this is kind of like it.
Okay.
Okay.
Did they ever?
Buddy's the only one that got that reference.
Do they ever explain why 27 years was the number? Like, I can't remember now. I haven't seen it in a long time.
There's a big exposition dump at the
No,
end.
they
yeah.
really don't go through any of the biology or genetic explanation for any of this.
Yeah, I
Oh,
kind of
they do,
wondered about
though.
that.
I thought they did. Anyway.
Well, we'll get there.
Okay, we will.
And Uhura's concerned, so she asks Nurse Chapel to help her in observing the men's behavior. In a way that it is lucky that it is actually affecting Spock, because he's the most level-minded and able to discern that his perceptions are changing, and he's able to observe it in an unbiased way. But it's clear that this is so strong that even a Vulcan is not totally immune to it. And it starts giving the men on the ship strong hallucinations. So Eric's is looking particularly happy.
I thought he was looking depressed, but okay.
Wait,
But
will it affect that three-armed guy at all? Did it affect him?
Yeah, it did. Well, just looking at his face, it looks like it affected him.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they see the women with the white hair along with the radio message and any particular image that will relate to them. And it's this point in the episode where the audience is clued in that this is like the sirens from Greek mythology.
Mm-hmm. She says it sounds like a Vulcan mating drum or something.
Yeah, that's what Spock sees. He sees the Vulcan mating drum and hears it. And drawn to the source of the signal, the men make their way to the second planet in the Tauran system, where a large...
I'm sorry, a quick question. Did they have a drum like that in Amok time?
Yes.
No.
Wait,
Did
they had
they?
a bomb.
They had a gong.
They had a
I
gong.
think so. And they had those bell things they shook.
Yeah, those
Yep.
bells too. Yeah.
So
I
percussion...
got a question here, though. If he kept hearing the Vulcan mating drums, how come he didn't get all violent and started attacking Kirk and them?
It just attracted him. It didn't give him Ponfar.
Yes. So they're going to the second planet in the Tauran system, where a large civilization once lived. But now the life form readings are sparse.
And it looks like Hulu's in front of the front helm on his knees for some reason.
Wait,
And-
did you say Sulu was on his knees?
Oh,
Well,
easy
that
joke,
last
guys.
angle, that right there, that last angle, I'm like, okay, it looks like Spock and Kirk are standing behind the helm, and Sulu's in front of it, but he's lower than it. I don't know. It just
Yeah.
I know it's the animation. Sometimes it just makes it look funny.
No, but it's
sorry, guys.
fun. It's fun to point these things out. Like last week, there was a shot with Uhura, and her knees were on the above the communication console. It was funny.
Yeah, I watched that. That was pretty good. Sometimes
Yeah.
the perspective is kind of wonky in this series.
It is.
No, but I'm just laughing at pop culture making the comment about Sulu being on his knees.
I'm not going there.
I didn't mean anything for that reason. I don't mean as far as the actor, guys. I'm just talking about the character.
That's what I thought you were going for. I'm sorry. I'm the one with the filthy mind.
Oh gosh.
Believe it or not, regardless of what he has done, the actor, which I do not agree with anything he has done or said, I will still always watch this show, and I will see the character Sulu as a separate person that I still like and respect.
Oh,
True.
absolutely.
Me too.
True.
Right? Yeah. Some of that. Sometimes actors will open their mouths, and I don't like their characters anymore. But that doesn't hurt Star Trek for me. I can still love Star Trek. It's the last bastion of hope that I have.
Yeah, it's all about the characters, really.
And I actually had a good experience meeting him too.
Oh,
Well,
So,
me
you
too.
know, you
He's
can
very
forget about politics for a while and
right.
just
He's very nice in person. I met him as well. I shook his hand. He's very nice in person. It's
he
just
loves his fans.
right. It's the Twitter age that just I don't know. Sorry. Go ahead.
Mhm. And if nothing else were concerning, this next part is pretty shocking because Ahura notes that the sensor readings are off from what Spock has reported, and since when is Spock ever inaccurate to that degree? That's very frightening.
hmm
So they
Meanwhile, on He-Man planet.
discover a beautiful planet with an advanced architecture, hinting at an advanced but apparently lost civilization.
Was
Of
He
it.
Man? Was that Filmation as well? Is that what the
I don't know.
similarity? You think?
I'll look it up.
I don't know.
Okay, because there are
And
similarities. You're
again,
right.
the biggest red flag, again, is Spock's emotions, the control of which are clearly being challenged. His exact words are almost boisterously portrayed, for a Vulcan anyway. He says, Captain, the urgency of our feeling suggests visual compulsion. I advise remaining at a distance until I can determine the extent of its influence. The life forms are indicated in its center. And there, Spock is admitting to having urgent feelings that compel him to see for himself what is occurring.
Yes, and it sounds like he's confused. He because I don't think he's used to this happening.
No, yes, which he rightly decides is something that he should instead stay away from. He's actually getting, he realizes he's getting these strong feelings. But Captain Kirk urges the landing party on anyway.
Of course.
Right, well, we got to have the episode.
Yeah. Well, he's Kirk too, so.
Well, Spock could have easily said, "All of you stay behind, stay behind. I'll go in. If you don't hear from me in 2 hours, leave."
Yeah, well, he doesn't realize just how bad the danger is yet. So
Correct.
they end up at this building, this lovely building with lovely women who seem to be as enchanted with the landing party as the landing party is with them.
Captain.
And
Sorry,
however,
I was laughing at the chat. Sorry. Go ahead.
oh, okay. When is Spock ever inaccurate? Think, Ahura, think. Right, exactly. That is very concerning. That's why I said that. And if Spock is displaying emotions, then clearly strange things are afoot. Read the room, away team, right?
What's
No,
this blasphemy?
well, you
What's
know
an
what?
away team? What's an
Well,
away team? I thought
well,
it's a landing
that's
party.
the whole point because these men, their psyche is being changed by the sirens, so that they're not following their usual protocol. Their
Right.
usual sense of foreboding is not so strong.
And that is explained later in the episode why.
hmm So they're so one weird thing is that when Thela addresses them, she doesn't address the red shirt. He gets ignored.
Oh, what a shocker! No one cares about the red shirt.
I don't know. I guess only I'm offended. So Spock is able to report that the women are humanoid, but that they function on a psychokinesis level. And this, coupled with the audio broadcasts that cause hallucination, is what makes this kind of more of a science fantasy episode rather than a science fiction one. And yet it's still one of my favorites anyway.
And
Psycho,
Scotty clarified that He-Man was produced by Filmation, so there are similarities. It could have been some of the same animators working on it. Sorry, go ahead, Jill. Continue.
cool. That makes sense. So, psychokinesis is a type of psychic ability that is supposed to be able to change the physicality of something without actually touching it. So, like telekinesis. Of course, this kind of thing is very difficult to study with any consistency. So, in real life, it's pseudoscience um, until such time that a study with thousands of repeatable results and controls can be replicated. However, this is the 70s, and maybe back then there was less certainty of the status of the non scientific nature of this kind of thing. I actually don't know. I didn't get to research that much. But for the purposes of this episode and Star Trek in general, in this fictional universe, it kind of makes sense for telekinesis to be real and quantifiable, even if we can't relate to it in real science. And it also makes sense for it to exist in Star Trek because we also have telepathy and ESP.
And that was in
yeah.
Where No Man Has Gone Before so far?
Yes.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
thinking that too. Where no man has gone before, definitely. Yeah, it was kind of a thing back then in the 60s and 70s, wasn't it, for a while, all that ESP and telekinesis stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I mean, I wasn't there, so I don't know.
No, I remember, that kind of stuff. Like they had, what was that guy, Yuri Geller or whatever, that bent the spoons and all that stuff?
Oh, but there is no
Yes.
spoon.
Yeah, Yuri Geller, the Russian, he was a
Yeah,
hoaxer. And
yeah.
yeah, it was all proven
All
fraud.
fake, eventually proven, but yeah, he was like quite famous
Yeah.
for a while there.
Oh yeah, he became very rich from it. Actually, very that field hoaxing people is very lucrative. Unfortunately,
Yeah. But yeah, it was kind of a rage for a while back then, for some years.
well, it still is. Remember, Nancy Reagan was into it.
Oh, jeez. I don't remember that. I must have missed
Yeah.
that part.
Oh, she had a personal psychic.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. So
continue, Rachel.
we learned that the women rely on their technology, specifically the opto-odd, which directs them to their next victim. So this is that device here.
Hmm.
Kirk asks about the signal, but the women deflect. And now in his captain's log, William Shatner actually does a very good job of portraying Captain Kirk as being utterly and completely drugged, as the men begin to deteriorate both mentally and physically due to this psychokinetic influence. Even in this altered state, they try their best to be good Starfleet officers because McCoy is questioning the location of the men on this planet, which the women once again deflect, saying that they are elsewhere. But being in such a stupor, the men do not question this answer like they normally would. They normally would be asking questions, especially Kirk. He's usually the first one to have the instinct, to know that things are not right. But here, he's doped up. They all pass out and are taken to the slumber chambers to rest. And Dila knows what is happening, and part of her is feeling guilty enough to shed a single tear. So when we see the men again, they're looking much older and wrinkled than before. Kirk finds that he cannot remove his headband. And back on the Enterprise, Nurse Chapel and Lieutenant Uhura continue to investigate what is wrong, using all of the scans that the women could collate, including medical, biological, and astrophysical scans. The computer concludes that the radio broadcast induced a deadly weakness on the males in the ship. And what's weird about the computer here is that Major Barrett is not voicing her, but Nichelle Nichols is.
Oh, really? Wow.
This is such a weird episode, just with because you have Uhura and you have Nurse Chapel, and then you have the computer, not with Majel Barrett, and then the aliens are voiced by Nichelle Nichols and
Right.
Majel Barrett. It's like, how many things do you have to do?
Well, they're making up for a lot of lost time here.
This is true. This is true. It's their time to shine.
Yeah, it's like Nichelle's episode, really, I guess.
Yeah, and she does a good job as the computer. It's just different. I
Yeah.
noticed something different about it. And Uhura orders all of the female security teams to guard the transporters to make sure nobody goes to the planet. And this take charge attitude alarms Nurse Chapel, and Uhura confirms that she's taking command of the ship. And still being the strongest of the men to these effects, Spock tries to request leaving the planet, but the women refuse. And when they try to leave anyway, the women throw them across the room because, you know, their strength is fading and the
Right.
women are gaining that strength. And so that's them being thrown to the cushions over there.
And you forgot. I thought you would.
What did
I
I
thought you
forget?
would. No, you didn't forget anything. I'm being sort of sarcastic, but I thought that you would actually have clipped the because you got to Scotty sitting in the captain's chair. I thought we would have heard the song, which was the longest 30 seconds of my life.
You know, I didn't really have time to clip video of the episode.
Oh,
but
no. I expect too much.
I
What
didn't.
did you guys think when you saw that song? When you saw Scotty, it's just a slow crawl of the Enterprise, and Scotty is singing some Scottish
It's
Gaelic lullaby.
I haven't seen it in so many years. I forgot that part actually, but maybe it's for the better.
But it's going to be the most interesting acting captain's log that somebody's going to go back and listen to. It's going to be him singing.
Jill, do you have auxiliary control to be able to allow Pop Culture Curator back on the stream?
No, I didn't even realize he was gone because I was enjoying.
Oh no,
He's been gone for
so much.
a few minutes now.
Yeah, well, we'll just continue, and
sure.
Maybe something's occurred where he had to take care of something else.
Right. I can read a couple of the chats over here.
For sure.
So,
it seems to be network issues. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, he should be able to get back on the StreamYard.
Captain Time Lord is making some comments about this episode. He puts a quote in here. Captain, the most stoic of psyches can be swayed by a whiff of cheap perfume and a short skirt. Well, in this case, it's auditory manipulation and psychokinetic powers.
It's futuristic pheromones.
Mm-hmm. And then he quotes from Generations for some reason. Time is the fire in which we burn. But another line to that poem is school is the time in which we learn, which is I wish they would have put that in the movie.
That would have been good. That's an inspirational poster that every school needs.
Okay,
yeah.
I agree. Spoken by yeah. Anyway, Captain left Scotty in charge. Well, no, he's been in charge lots of times before and been just fine, but he just hasn't been brain-addled like this before.
True.
Well, Naked Time notwithstanding.
But he was clear-headed in Naked Time, though, wasn't he?
Oh.
I think he was the only one because he had to restart the engines.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, no, you don't have to apologize. We haven't watched it yet on the on the TOS review, so...
It's coming up.
Yep. It's odd to see Nurse Chapel on the bridge as well. Or at least the animated version. I don't really... Because I haven't seen any of these. It's just kind of cool to see the new character designs as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen the show, the animated series, in many years. I actually just read a synopsis online earlier today, just to refresh my memory. But yeah, I haven't seen it in ages.
Sorry for the delay, guys.
No, that's
no
fine.
Worries.
No, we were continuing just fine.
I'm
glad you're back.
I'm on my phone, so I hope this will hold up.
It seems to be working okay.
Yeah, StreamYard had logged me out, so I had to log back into StreamYard, and once I did that, it let me back into the stream.
Yeah, that was weird.
Cool.
It was like the first time I tried to log in, I got kicked out too by StreamYard. It's just I must have clicked the wrong button or something. But
yeah,
then I logged in. Second time I logged in fine.
I tried to log in. They sent me a code to my email, and I put the code in, and then it logged me back in. So I'm not. But thank you for taking over and filling in, Jill.
Yeah, you're welcome. Actually, I didn't even realize you were gone. Scotty had to clue me in because I was just continuing with the review.
Well, I often work best in the background, I guess.
on the bridge of the Enterprise, Scotty is singing a lovely song and is very amenable and thankful to Uhura when she takes over and makes Nurse Chapel chief medical officer. And related to that, on the planet, the only tools that the women on the planet allowed the men to have were McCoy's medical kit. So he was allowed.
Much to McCoy's confusion. I wonder why they let us keep this.
Yeah, right? Why would they let us keep all this useful stuff?
Well, since they're going to get drained until they die, like, what would be the point of having the medical kit? It is kind of odd.
Yeah, go ahead.
It gets explained, I imagine, though, Jill. I expect. Eh?
Yes, and this medical kit includes cortropine, a strong stimulant, which has no relation to any real drug, but we get the idea of what it should be. And since McCoy was able to use his med kit, Spock has a great idea to disrupt the magnetically sealed door with the medical scanner. I've never seen a medical scanner. Has a medical scanner been used like this before?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But so they don't really explain it very well, but it works.
Well, it's better than Data popping open his wrist in Generations to get a door to open.
Fair.
Yeah, and they are only like 22-minute episodes or whatever as well. So
right. So they don't have time to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, to do a lot of exposition or whatever. Yeah.
And this is the way that they are able to run away, and they end up and of course they get chased by the women, and
they hide in a flower pot.
They hide in the flower pot in the garden, like Peter Rabbit.
Well, she said
by Mr. McGregor.
She called it an urn. I don't know if that matters.
Yes, it's an urn, but I was going along with the flower pot.
Thank you.
That's funny because if it is a flower pot, you figure that's the first place the women would look.
That's a good still.
That's fantastic. Where could they be?
It's like, gee,
I'm all out of ideas.
It's not that obvious thing right between everybody.
Oh, it's really high up. I don't want to climb up there. You go.
Well, how convenient though that they made it stepping stones on so they could climb up it instead of making it smooth.
And I have a question too. I don't know if I noticed it, but did they ever mention or explain why the crew couldn't they remove those themselves?
Captain Kirk does try to remove the headband, but he's unable to. He doesn't have the strength to pull off the headband from his head. I don't know why. They don't explain how or why this is an impossibility.
I thought it's like only a woman could remove it.
That isn't made clear at all.
Maybe there's a force field of some kind keeping the headbands on.
It's a good
let's
question.
find out. We'll find out how when they take them off, because I think that there's the negotiation between Uhura and the ladies, the white-haired Barbies.
Pop culture, you get a lot of. Anytime anybody talks, you get a lot of echo. Kind of strange. But Spock here is talking about the headbands, not explaining any of that, but he says, I have noticed that their glow diminishes when the women are not present. They could be polarized conductors, which transfer our vital energy to the bodies of the women. And Kirk says, you mean they're actually draining our life forces? So somehow, also really unexplained, we have these headbands which have electrical fields that conduct some type of electricity that transfers the men's energy into the female aliens. We just have to buy it to continue the story. It works somehow to drain the men, makes them age, and give the women new life. And Spock continues to try to be helpful here because he's the only one who has any sort of degree of still being able to have any kind of clear thought. And he says, that would account for our rapid aging, Captain, and our weakness. If you recall, the women seemed listless at first, but as our strength failed, they have become more energetic and vital. So they're...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Jill,
go ahead. No. That's
I was
another
just
thing.
Do they actually explain the 27 point something years thing at the end, or
No. Oh yes,
No,
I think they do. I
what?
thought they did. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, they do. They do sort of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wanted to explain. I apologize for. First of all, there was an echo, and second, my language. What happened? My
I didn't notice
computer,
anything wrong with your language.
my laptop had decided to do a Windows update. Isn't that nice?
Oh,
Oh,
jeez.
perfect
Oh,
timing.
how
Good
nice
timing.
of Windows
Right.
to
So
take care
basically,
of-
right. Yeah. So I got on the phone. I was on the phone with you guys, and in the meantime,
Mhm.
I rebooted the computer. So now I'm back on the computer. So
Hmm.
just to give you an update. But the scourge that is Windows. So
Well, that's
go
great.
ahead.
You sound much better now.
Yeah, it sounds fine now.
So they're aging 10 years per day. So
Ouch.
Spock, with his longer lifespan and stronger Vulcan physicality, goes back to the temple to find supplies. So brilliantly, Spock is able to sing the note. He's able to sing the note that turns on the opto-odd, so he can find the equipment that the women took from them. Yeah, but he's even as strong as he is, he's suffering too.
Yeah,
And
he's
here's
at
where we
the end.
discover, right, and those devices laying there was a trap.
And he uses the communicator to request an all-female rescue party. And Uhura complies. I'm sure she was going to do that.
Well, and notice they didn't show the celebrating. All the women were like, "Yeah, finally, yes, let's go."
Well, just it happening is a celebration.
Yeah, if
That's
it
all
was
you
done
need
now,
in
though.
Star Trek, because Star Trek is all business, and I think it's perfect.
If they did it now, though, there'd be lots of high fives and hugs and stuff, probably.
Oh yeah.
Tears.
But this is just the coolest part of the episode because Uhura leads the landing party with confidence and certainty in her command.
And professional. Yeah, very
Yeah,
professional.
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah, I'd say the best part of the episode, really.
Yeah, and then threatened by. Oh, go ahead.
I love this still of just seeing an all women security team. It just looks good. I don't know why Nurse Chapel's wearing red, but that's not, whatever. But other than that, I just think that
That's
this
a
is
good
very
point.
this is
Maybe
very
they all
foxy.
think- Right, maybe they all
Scotty, I
decided,
think you
look,
just like the legs.
I think.
I
that's
love
it.
these uniforms. I can't help it.
Yeah, shorts. But I think what happened is that maybe all the women decided, hey, we may be in danger down there. We better wear red just in case.
Just in case.
Right.
But
No,
this
you're
is
absolutely right. Nurse Chapel should be in blue.
But this is a group of women that I would never have the confidence to approach at a Star Trek convention. I would just be like, "Oh, there's too much pretty over there."
And the
thing is,
director was
so-
Hal Sutherland, so he's colorblind. He would have noticed.
Would
Oh, fair
Nurse Chapel even go down on a security detail?
It's
Well,
a medical
yeah, because-
emergency.
Yeah,
She's-
she's a doctor now.
So
She's
yeah,
been made. Well,
I
she's
guess
not a
that makes
doctor,
sense.
but she's the
Well-
chief medical officer.
Right,
True.
chief medical
Well,
officer. Her gave
yeah.
her
Well, I
a-
guess
a
under the
immediate
circumstances, it
promotion,
makes
right.
sense.
Well, how many women are on the Enterprise? Because they might have had to recruit her because there might not have been enough people who were trained well enough to go on a security.
I
Trek?
think that if you're serving on a starship, basic security duties are probably part of Starfleet Academy training. I would assume. I'm just guessing.
Same
Yeah.
here. I would assume basic things. Yes.
And I would
So is that
imagine.
why Starfleet security always sucks? Is because they're too busy training everybody?
Well, everybody's got to have some basic training. You have to have basic training for everybody in case situations like this arise. Otherwise, everybody would just be wringing their hands, not knowing what to do, which is unprofessional and wouldn't make any sense. They wouldn't last very far in their space travels if it was like that.
Agreed.
Yes.
Besides,
So
you're
Yeah, that
right, you're
makes
traveling around for hours, days, weeks, and months in space. What better is there to do but train, right?
Well,
Absolutely.
exactly.
True enough.
Probably one of your shifts is going to be compulsory, like combat training, or like you're probably always brushing up on new stuff when you're on a ship.
And I would
Yeah,
have them
and
go into
always-
different departments and learning different areas of the ship as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't know how many of these women actually did go through command training. And we know for sure that Uhura has always been written in the Bible to be fourth in command of the ship.
Yep.
And threatened by the women of the planet, but undeterred, Uhura leads the landing party in stunning the women who stand in the way
Stunning the stunning women.
Yeah.
Hey, she's in blue now.
Finding the men. Yeah, so she's in the right color.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she
Somebody
went back
messed
really
up.
quick. She realized it, beamed back up, and came back down.
Oh,
She went to go
man.
get her uniform.
Her and her realized they
It's
were
like-
wearing the same dress.
Slight continuity error, perhaps.
Well,
Betty,
one of
Veronica.
us has to change. Fine, I'll go change.
Yeah, but it's funny. Her's got that look on her face like, no, that crap's not going to work with me.
Oh, she drops them. It's awesome. The way she does command in this is just like, wow.
She wastes no time, right?
Nope.
Right. These the aliens are in the way of her finding the men of the ship, so she takes care of them. And after this,
Thank you for making it mildly animated.
Well, you always got a place to park your bike.
so they can't really find the men until Spock is able to reach Nurse Chapel with telepathy. So they find
They're
Spock.
behind the one door that they didn't try.
Well, it was a
Right.
hidden passage. Remember, she had to find the button for it. So I'm guessing Spock would be around the same age as he was in the last Star Trek movie that he was in, right?
Yeah.
Beyond,
I guess.
or whatever.
Oh, that.
Oh no.
Yeah, sorry, I should have done that. I apologize.
We don't discuss such stuff.
So
Well,
yeah,
Chapel's
so
in blue
but
too.
even though he's able to speak telepathically, he can't actually speak. He seems to be dying or something. So they take him to sickbay while the rest of the landing party is stuck in the urn.
I think what happened is when there was the trap, he found the communicator, they surrounded him, and they zapped him of his energy, and he's dying of old age.
Yes, and back in sickbay, Nurse Chapel is able to take off the headband. So I guess it's probably proximity to the aliens on the planet, maybe.
Well, remember,
makes sense.
and they also said that women have some sort of mental ability over the men, too, so maybe it was a mental barrier that they couldn't lift it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yes,
hypnosis,
could be.
Right, that's also a possibility. And after she takes this headband off, he's able to speak again, and he helps. He instructs that a female engineer needs to divert all of the ship's energy into the deflector shields to block the probe, because Nurse Chapel says that we tried that, but I guess they didn't try using all the ship's energy, so that's what they'll do to keep the rest of the men from being affected by this thing,
Right.
who are still in the ship.
It looks like Nurse Chapel's still showing her feelings for Spock again in this scene too.
Yeah, I love this scene. I love this. Remember, guys, it's a Saturday morning cartoon, which is fantastic.
And they remember.
Well, that's what I liked about the series. I mean, it might have been a Saturday morning cartoon, but it wasn't written like one. It was
Exactly.
written like something for adults.
It was written for Star Trek fans of all ages.
For anybody really that could appreciate it. Yeah.
Right, from everything we've gathered from all of us, from all sources around, when they brought these people back for this, they basically said, we want the people who made the original Star Trek, we want the original writers, we want the original ideas. They never said, hey, everybody, we're writing this for kids this time.
Yeah.
They never did that.
And they never did either.
Right, they seemed like they were just taking over from where they left off, right?
Exactly.
They did. That's great. And they didn't even add the animated series part until many years later. So it was just Star Trek.
Yeah, I have a feeling they were planning on having it just called Star Trek, but it's probably a network thing or Filmation. But I have a feeling it probably was not their decision to add that in the title.
So they return to the planet, and Uhura is ready for when the women wake up from being stunned. And finally, Thela explains her history, the history of what happened to her race. She says, "This is the race from whom we are descended. They came to this planet when our homeworld began to die. They built this place and all surrounding it. They did not know this planet drains humanoid energy, but the women's bodies developed a glandular secretion, enabling them to survive and to manipulate certain areas of the male's brains, influence their emotional senses. Ultimately, it drained the men, caused them to weaken and die." And so that is how the women have carried on like vampires, and why all of the men have perished, and why they have to harvest new men, every 27 years.
Mm-hmm.
Thela then uses the Optoad to find the men for Uhura, and Uhura saves them. So they,
See? Flower pot.
yeah, flower pot. They're drowning.
I thought that was like a water catcher. It's like supposed to catch water.
Like a rain
Collection
barrel?
possible.
It's a very fancy rain barrel?
Maybe. Well, she called it urn. Maybe it's a water urn instead of
Could be.
We're used to the urn being ashes.
It's just
would
easy
make
to make
sense,
fun
I
of,
guess.
guys. I'm sorry.
Well, it does look like a face. Buzz.
And even though I love this episode and what it means for her to command, something sinister is also born in this episode that carries on into the Star Trek universe.
Uh-oh.
And for me, that is the magic transporter that essentially works as a fountain of youth.
Oh, yes.
Oh, put them through the pattern buffer?
Yep.
Can I mention something real quick before we go any further?
Sure.
There's a bit of trivia. I should have recorded it, but I was too busy today. Kirk wakes up when he recovers on the ground before they beam up. He recovers. He gets a communicator, and he says the line, "Beam me up, Scotty."
Oh,
Oh, I
Yes.
never realized
I
that.
wanted to
finally
clarify
said
that.
on screen.
Well,
Jeez.
okay,
Finally
not
said on
quite,
screen.
not quite,
What
but
was
we're
that
gonna
on
get there.
screen? I didn't quite catch that.
Not quite, but we'll
Uh-oh.
get there in a little bit.
Okay.
So I still have a
I
little
go
bit
back
to say.
down. That's right. I had to go back down. I'm sorry, Jill.
No,
Yeah.
that's okay. That's okay. But we will get to that pretty soon. So what they do here, this transporter thing, they restore the crew to an earlier pattern, simply using the previously stored pattern. And while you can store the correct sequence to arrange the pattern, the physicality of your previous form isn't physically stored in the transport. So I personally believe that this should not work. But it does, and it will again in Star Trek. And for me, this is a very problematic use of the transporter, because
I
if you can
agree.
just do this, why not always reset yourself to be perfect and
Yeah.
young?
And nobody
Whenever
would
you
ever
please.
die. You could put a
Right.
dead
You'd have
body in there,
eternal
bring it back
life.
to life.
I just
Just,
walk into the transporter and say, "Hey, make me 22 again," and restore all.
Right. Hey,
Exactly.
I've gained 10 pounds since last week. I needed another trip to the transporter, right?
Right. And for me, it's kind of universe breaking, and for me, it's a trope in Star Trek that is used again, and I can't. It's used so much that I can't
You-
really be too mad at it.
And another thing, you wouldn't need McCoy anymore, because if anybody got sick or broke a leg, that you just put them through the transporter
Exactly.
and zap
Right.
them back to
But
their
McCoy's
former
there
self.
because but I do have to pin McCoy because they always run into new things that they haven't came across. So they're going to need someone to come up with it, because McCoy does solve a lot of problems.
Well, in an emergency, but for basic, regular
Basic stuff,
medical
right.
stuff, they just use the transporter.
But they go to Bones and say, "I broke my arm," and he say, "What do you need me for? Just go to the transporter room."
Exactly. Everybody'd be relying on Scotty more than Bones at that point.
Right.
Yeah. So essentially, this kind of thing, the magic transporter, makes no sense unless they had the physical compressed copies of everyone who was ever transported in the buffers, which would seem like it would take up a lot of space.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense.
no.
Well, you gotta think this is set 200 years in the future. I think computers gotten a lot more advanced than.
Right. Well, I was thinking too. We don't know as far as storage space and equivalent. That may not be an issue, but I think it's just too magical. It's like a magic ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more fantasy.
Rather than being based in science or
Yes, and
even
I do
fiction.
realize that this entire episode is more science fantasy than science fiction. So
Yeah.
I shouldn't be too harsh on it because I love it for many other reasons.
But
And
Jill, look,
I have to say, William Shatner is in his 90s now, and he looks better than he does there.
Well, a little thicker.
Tad, a little bit rosier cheeks. Yes.
Yeah, he's still looking pretty good for his age, though.
He looks great.
Oh yes.
hey Jill, just look at how massive Google's servers are right now. Now, or just even look at just YouTube servers. How much where they can handle uploading 300 hours of content every second.
It's true. As time goes on, we're able to store more and more information in smaller and smaller forms. This is true. I'm not saying it's well, yes, I am kind of saying it's impossible. but I get where you're coming from, Grilla.
Yeah, I suppose even the concept of a transporter is kind of still fantasy. Really. I mean, I wonder if there ever will be such a thing.
Well,
okay.
This
is
not in the form that we see here. It might be something a little more grounded.
So this is what you were talking about, pop culture curator.
Yes, correct.
So, anyway, this is one of the few times you hear Kirk say anything close to "Scotty, beam me up," which he never says during TOS, and you don't hear that
I could have
verbatim.
sworn he said, "Beam me up, Scotty." He said us.
Yes, he says, "Beam us up, Scotty."
Gotcha.
They've never said "beam me up, Scotty" in
until the voyage home. But
no, that's what he said. Scotty, beam us up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you guys know about the drug relation?
The which?
Tell me.
Okay, when I was attending the conventions when they were making the movies 2, 3, 4, 5, people were asking about that, because that topic was back even then. But unfortunately, it was kind of like how drug users use the word 5-0 when they're talking about cops, how that's related to a TV show called Hawaii 5-0. Well, apparently drug dealers were using the term "beam me up, Scotty" when they were buying drugs. So at the
really?
At the conventions, they said, "Oh, we would like to use that term, but we just can't because now it's been related. It's basically been tainted."
Oh boy!
So that's the reason why they intentionally avoided using it from then on.
Jeez.
Oh wow!
Oh, I didn't know about that.
I never heard that before. Wow!
It's such a waste. It is. It's a waste. Like those stupid drug dealers. Come up with something else, can't you? Now they're using electric boogaloo, so who knows?
So anyway, I love this episode so much. So even given the iffy transporter magic and the pseudoscientific telekinesis, I still give this one a B+, just because it gave Uhura her status as fourth in command, just as it always should. Just as it always should have been. At the very least, she should have been the one to command the Enterprise after Scotty in every instance that occurred in TOS. And this episode helps correct that gross oversight. And I love it very much for that. And of course, the messaging is nice at the end when the women are given a new planet where they can try and rebuild the life as normal mortals. And they seem encouraged by this.
I'm just wondering, though, is there any mention of when they get transported to this new planet where they can resume, normal lives again?
No.
Well, I mean, they have no men, right? The men are all dead, so.
Yeah, but in this scene right here, doesn't she say we'll finally be like regular women and we can bear children and we can do all that?
Yeah, but how are they going to bear children if there's no men?
Well, I guess they're going to find compatible species.
No, they're transplanting them off the planet.
I mean, are they going to ship some men over to this new planet? I mean, it's
once they get away from the planet, they won't be vampires anymore. Is that right?
Yes.
Right.
Well, then, they can do a regular planet.
And then
the planet they take them to will have a population of men and women already there.
I would assume so.
Lonely men.
I'm sure that there's a Federation diplomat who steps in after this episode to try and find a
fix it. Yeah,
a good relocation.
Well, he'll fix it all right. Yeah, he'll fix it all right.
Seemed like
I will
a bit
ask
of
a
a
room
loophole.
full of guys, any volunteers, and all the hands will go up at the same time.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have any trouble finding a planet where they can settle.
And they have to
Whether or
introduce
not,
them into a society as well.
right? Whether or not they'll be able to bear children with the society they settle with is questionable.
Well, that's true.
Is
Yeah, it seemed like a
everyone
bit of a plot hole to me.
has everyone forgotten that Spock is half human? Aliens
haven't.
they can procreate with anybody though. Like in the
Yes.
Star Trek universe, you can have like a half Betazoid, a half
I didn't
Vulcan.
forget that.
Yeah,
Half
but
Horta.
so if they want to go somewhere and bang a Klingon, that's their business.
Okay.
All right.
Well, there you go, Scotty, the authority on
On interspecies
mating.
breeding.
Yeah,
That's-
I'm
that's-
sure they have a half Horta out there somewhere, right?
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
That's
I
a
don't
whole
know.
other can of worms, though, when you think about it. I mean, the
Well, yeah,
whole
now we're talking about
interspecies thing.
silicon life.
Well, it's
Oh,
like,
right,
I mean,
exactly.
is it really that plausible? Like, I don't know. I think there could be a lot of issues with, interspecies breeding.
Yeah, I don't know. It just rubs me wrong. It doesn't sound right, but I don't want to be racist or xenophobic, I guess would be the word, because it worked for Spock, right? I mean, you got a Vulcan and a human there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I guess in the context of the times, I mean, I guess they probably didn't overthink this stuff back then, but.
Or maybe because both species are
Exactly.
humanoid.
Well, I guess if they're humanoid, maybe, but still, I kind of
And I
question it.
They explain this in like DS9, Voyager, and Enterprise that with a little bit of medical intervention, a lot of species can mate. They just have to have a doctor do some work on it, some magic stuff on it. They never did get into
A little bit
details.
of
But also, I think it's so that they can, once they get off the planet, it's more about escaping the horror of, what is it, immortality. Like being able to fulfill a life and not having to be, space lady vampires. That's got to be good.
Yeah.
Well, that's what she said. They wanted to be able to grow old like everyone else. Nobody
Right.
wants to live forever.
Right, to be able to respect life again.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It must
Yep.
be a burden to have to take other people's lives every 27 years
Yeah.
just to survive. That would be kind of weird.
I think it's kind of hints a little bit on the old. I don't know if you guys have heard of Madame Bovary.
I've heard the
No.
name. I can't remember the context, but
What is that?
It's based on history, a true story. Around the 15th or 16th century, she was a princess, very powerful. But she would advertise to have young female virgins, only female virgins, come and work in her castle. She was having them killed, and she was bathing in their blood, thinking it made her younger.
oh,
Oh,
geez.
wow.
And it wasn't until they had a lot of people disappearing and people started asking questions. She got off, though. They got her as insane. And rather than her going to any kind of jail type thing, they just locked her up in a castle for the rest of her life.
Oh,
But
geez.
yeah, that is
Wow.
a true story. And there's been a lot of different movies based on that,
Hmm.
on that basic
Yeah.
premise where somebody, right? I know Dracula is different, but that's almost like a real life person, even though she was nuts, right?
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah, but
intense.
if you look it up, Madame Bovary, Bovary, you'll find it.
Yeah, I think I vaguely do remember hearing that story sometime years and years ago, but yeah, that's pretty out there.
Mhm.
Anyway,
So what rating do you guys give this episode?
Me, I give it an A, but I'm
Mhm.
partial and I'm biased.
Yeah.
I will admit.
If it weren't for the magic transporter trope being born, I would have given it an A too.
And I would say it's my favorite Nichelle Nickel episode out of all TOS and TAS.
Wow.
Mhm.
Because
Yes.
she never gets much to. She does a little bit better in Gamesters of Triskelion, I guess. She gets a little bit bigger role, but she's still the damsel in distress. So I like how she has a larger role here, and she takes charge, and she basically wins saves the day here, which is, I love it for that reason.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do wish I got to see her in command like this just a little bit more than we do see it, but it is great that we have this.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would rather have her steering the Enterprise than Troy. I'll put it that way.
oh yeah.
No kidding.
I thought we put this to bed. I thought we were blaming Riker.
Oh yeah, I do. He was in command. He should have chosen a capable helmsman for that task.
Hmm.
They didn't show the scene where they flipped the coin, huh?
But yeah, I give this one a B plus. I'm with Jill, just because of the Again, the animation, new Star Trek. I'm a little biased just because getting new Star Trek that is good is great, and having Uhura in command. The only reason it doesn't get an A is not because of the magic transporters, because I have come to terms with that. I've forgiven that a long time ago. I'm not giving it an A because of the longest 30 seconds that I have ever sat through in any Star Trek episode. That song, I don't get it.
I thought it was lovely.
It was lovely, but I didn't understand. I was like, "Oh, are you padding this? Is this just you're stretching the runtime, aren't you?" All right, all right. I was imagining the children in like 1973 or whatever, watching it, being like, "When are they going to do something?"
Oh boy.
Yeah, right. You're right. Right. How many viewers did they lose at that moment? That would have been interesting to know on the first run. Of this
Oh,
episode.
absolutely. Come
Oh,
on, the
geez.
kids are jumping up, running to the kitchen, getting more cereal. I guess we have to play outside.
And I
Yeah.
want to say, Captain Time Lord Spock. I'm sorry we don't have more time to read the chats. We're
What?
not ignoring them.
Well, okay.
I am trying to show every one of them.
He says, "Has anyone remembered that Spock is half human? Scotty is the official authority on interspecies romances. True story."
Thank you, Captain.
And he continues, "All Star Trek transporters are suicide booths with extra steps."
Russian
Oh,
roulette.
this is going to start a war. No. Incorrect. They are not murder booths. It is a transfer of your matter into energy cycled through a pattern buffer, then sent via transmission down to the location, operated by the transporter chief. I don't care which one. O'Brien, Kyle, do whatever you want.
But when
He
you're-
goes, and then that matter is reassembled, or that energy is reassembled back into matter. It is the same person. It does not copy you. It is you.
But
You're
when
right,
you
but
are
it's where's the
rearranged,
matter
are you
come from?
rearranged the same way every time?
That's what the
Yes.
Heisenberg compensators are for.
So every
right.
molecule
Forgot
is
about those.
perfectly in place.
Yep.
But
Boy, that
remember
would be
now, it's not you.
amazing.
You actually die when you beam out, and it's a different
That's
you
not.
when you come back.
Oh,
Here we go.
I'm leaving. Forget this place. No, I know it's a
Jeez.
constant. It's two sides. It's like Nintendo or Sega. It's
Yeah, I
Coca
kinda- I
Pepsi.
kinda
Do
side
you
with
think that you
McCoy.
die or not?
kinda
I
side
can
with
understand. I can understand McCoy's point of view in terms of not trusting the technology, but I do not think that the technology kills you and like copies you. It's not a replicator.
Except if you're beaming up in
Agreed.
that Star
Although-
Trek, the motion picture scene.
Well, yeah, but that's why McCoy has a good point. You're absolutely right.
That was pretty horrendous. I remember.
Right,
that.
you probably told that guy after you, right?
No, yeah, he definitely did. He actually had the other people who were beaming up to the Enterprise to go before him.
Right.
So
but,
yeah,
you know,
so they'll be
right.
scrambled first.
And I think, in all honesty, the only reason why they had that problem is, remember, that mission was rushed. The ship wasn't really ready yet, which is also the reason why they had the problem with the wormhole. There was a lot of things that hadn't been fine tuned
Right.
on that ship yet.
Right.
For those of you who have seen Enterprise and other supposedly, I guess I can call them sequels or prequels, did they ever have any other issues with the transporters?
The transporter didn't really come into play that often, just because it was used primarily for cargo, but then it got introduced, and then you do actually meet the inventor of the transporter, whose son was lost in a transporter accident, oddly enough.
Oh.
Well, they had that one episode there with Hoshi too, where they had to beam them up one at a time, and Hoshi was in the transporter for like 8 seconds, but they had the whole episode in 22 minutes with her being in the buffer zone or going through there, those aliens.
Oh,
Basically.
cool.
That's in season 1.
Is this, what are we talking about, Enterprise now?
Yeah. And also Major Hayes, one of the Makos, he got shot while transporting out, and it didn't bounce off or go right past him.
Yeah.
But if
That's
you think
true.
about it, 100 years later, they fixed that problem.
Oh, Captain, I am not triggered all too easy. It's just a
right.
rare situation for me to be able to go off about the operations of a transporter.
Especially a fictional item. Captain Time Lord Spock says triggered all too easy, and then Captain Time Lord Spock says it's just a TV show. Relax. We don't have to analyze every scientific detail I'd rather be a happy poet than a correct Poindexter. Maybe transport a stick a couple pounds off too.
Exactly.
Or how about this? Say, oh, is my body stored in there? Can I add a few muscles? Add some more muscles. Maybe about 4 foot taller.
Well, that's another thing that comes into question, right? Like, I mean, could you take a different form?
Right? Can you manipulate the form that's in there? Exactly. The
Yeah,
buffer.
exactly.
Wait, no. Who needs a transport? That just call Q up. He'll turn you into a dog.
There you go.
I always
Anyway.
forget that happens, and it's always so funny.
It's for me. That's kind of a spot. That's why I was never really a fan of Q. He was more of a magical thing, which I don't think mixed well with Star Trek. That's why I always compared him to Gazoo from the Flintstones, where he just snapped his fingers and things would happen because they were jumping the shark because the show had low ratings, and I wasn't happy that TNG started right off with a magical character. But I know he's a popular
He was a more
character,
advanced
and I know a lot of people like him.
form of Chilean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to give my review quickly.
He was still better than the Traveler. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you, Jill and Scotty, that I'd probably give this one a B+ as well. I think it's a good, solid episode. The highlight is Uhura, of course, taking control and basically saving the day. But yeah, the fantasy elements kind of take it down a bit for me. So, and that's pretty well it.
I
haven't got a whole lot to say about it.
I have a feeling if they'd had an hour, we probably wouldn't see as many of those elements that don't kind of.
I think so too. Yeah, with an hour, this probably would have been an A+.
Oh, they probably would have explained everything.
I desperately want to give it that just for Uhura, but I can't.
Yeah, I'd give it an A+ if it was solid sci-fi.
Right, that's why I gave it an A and not an A+. So it makes that much difference for me. How about you, Gorilla?
Oh, it's a total F because it's so damn woke.
So woke.
Nah, I'll give it a B.
Great.
Very cool. I should have put a poll in the panel.
Right,
or in the chat. I don't know how many people are in the chat. I know Captain's there. Captain.
Just Captain.
Yeah, Captain, what would you, and anybody else, if you're out there, lurkers, what would you, can you put your rating in the chat from A to F? What would you give this episode, if you watched it or if you're aware of it?
Yeah, it looks like it's just the Captain.
Yes, it's just the Captain.
Well, Captain, I agree with you sticking through.
Yeah, thanks for hanging with us, Captain Time.
Absolutely. I know Bert said earlier he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to last through the whole thing.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. That's fine. He's got a bedtime.
And by the way, everybody, anybody out there, or if you're on the rerun, if you enjoy this, please sub to my channel, click the like button, and hit the alert, as well as Antiderivative Jill here. Antiderivative Jill does reviews every Monday for Star Trek TOS. Tuesday, that's right, today's Monday. Tomorrow, she'll do reviews for TOS. And what episode are we doing tomorrow, Jill?
Yeah, tomorrow is Canada's Star Trek Day. So, when in 1966 the Man Trap first aired, but we'll be reviewing Mud's Women on my channel at 11 a.m. Central Time tomorrow, and then on Thursday, on actual Star Trek Day, on the Phantasmagorium channel, Scotty and I will be reviewing the Enterprise pilot, Broken Bow, as a prelude to our Quantum Leap retrospective, which will continue the following Thursdays for however long Quantum Leap lasts.
Very nice. That was 5 seasons, right?
Yeah. And also we'll have a Friday show, which should be fun, and I'll smash that bot for you, and it is smashed.
What time is the Friday show this week, Jill?
It should be the same time as my
11 Central?
Show, 11 a.m. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I might be able to pop on. I'm not
sure.
Yeah,
I know it's early in the day for you, so.
Well, it's my work week too, right? Like I got to work probably only 3 days this week, so I'm hoping my week will be over by Thursday night. So if that's the case, I should be able to pop on Friday morning, no problem. So.
And then on the next Monday, we're going to review another animated series episode, which is the sequel to The Trouble with Tribbles. called More Tribbles, More Troubles. And whenever you're ready, after everybody, after you close the stream, or before you close the stream, just let me know and I'll play I can play the trailer for.
Yes, right.
More
What Jill's
Tribbles, More
referencing to
Troubles.
is last week I was stupid and I forgot and I ended the stream before she could show the trailer. So for any of you that was there last week, I apologize. I did not do that intentionally. And I want to be a little selfish here. I'll make this fast. My video about the father of Star Trek. What would you guys rate it on an A to F?
Oh, it's an A.
Yeah,
It
me
was
too. I get
it was
married.
brand new information for me, so it was
Oh, okay.
absolutely. Not only was it an interesting question, and I enjoy sort of seeing, behind the curtain when it comes to Gene Roddenberry. He wasn't perfect. I still respect him. I love Star Trek, and I adore what he created. But in terms of your video, I thought it was balanced. It presented the facts, and it gave me something to think about, and it gave me a whole list of movies to see.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're
it's-
fantastic movies. If you guys ever want to check them out, I have them. We can do watch parties if you can't get your hands on them.
Nice.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I haven't yet. I haven't got around to watching it yet, but it
No
sounds
problem.
interesting because it's basically about Roddenberry and somebody else that might have been involved with the creation of the series.
Possibly,
It sounded like.
possibly, very possibly. I'm not trying to change anybody's opinion. It's just for, like I said in the video, it's entertainment purposes.
I have heard those ideas before, though, that Roddenberry might have got his ideas from another source. So
Well, right. One thing I will stipulate, and I'll put out front, regardless of Roddenberry, removing him out of the puzzle, Star Trek would not be what it is without the team of people he worked with.
Agreed.
definitely,
Right.
definitely.
Right. Like DC Fontana, I think she owns or deserves just as much credit as him, if not more, because she was script supervisor. She overwatched everything. She kept the show serious. It never turned into corny or B sci-fi.
Hmm.
And I think she's an unsung hero that doesn't get enough credit. At least
And
in my
she's
opinion.
even more in control in this series. As the animated series, she's essentially a showrunner here.
Absolutely, and it shows that's why these episodes are written so well. She never took Star Trek lessons seriously.
Yeah, she was definitely a guiding force in TOS and this series for
Right.
sure.
I think she honestly loved it. I think she honestly liked the show rather than it just being a job. I think she enjoyed it.
Well,
And,
that's the way it should
shows.
be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unlike these days, right?
Yeah, now it's I don't even know if it's a job to them. They don't seem to take it seriously, even as a job. The stuff they're writing, jeez.
Maybe it's just a day around the water cooler these days, right?
Yeah, get that feeling.
Well,
But yeah,
it speaks leaps and bounds about the current state of Star Trek that some of the biggest Star Trek fans are not going to be watching the Star Trek Day footage because there's no one really there to
Right.
cheer for.
Well,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Well, we're still celebrating Star Trek Day, but in
We're
our own
celebrating
way.
Star Trek Day, yeah,
But we're not going to
Twice.
be doing it with Paramount.
right.
exactly.
Well, we'll be doing it with Bacula, and we'll be doing it with Mud, so it'll be great.
Exactly.
I'm excited.
Sure
I'm
other
looking forward
creators
to
on
it.
YouTube will be doing their own things as well, and then that'll
Oh,
be
for
fun
sure.
to see.
Absolutely.
And that's why I'll make sure that ours has as much information as we can squeeze in as possible.
Hmm.
Before we show the trailer, which I have not forgotten, Scotty, is there anything that we haven't mentioned that you would like to plug about your channel?
Just on Wednesdays, the Phantasmagorium show is in the middle of a Quentin Tarantino retrospective, and this week we're going to be talking about, Kat and I will be talking about Django Unchained.
Ooh, that's Quentin Tarantino, right?
Yes. Yeah, actually written and directed. We did Destiny Turns on the Radio last week, where he just starred in it, and I've already forgotten what it's about, but you can check out that video. We've done all the James Bond
Don't bother.
movies. Yeah.
Don't bother. There's
No,
an honest review.
Watch Scotty's review on it, but never actually watch the movie.
And so I guess I owe you an apology, Jill.
So it's like Bird. The reviews are better than the actual show. In other words, right?
Exactly, yeah. Well, just in this case, because Quentin Tarantino did not write or direct Destiny Turns
Right.
on the Radio.
We had to
Gosh,
throw
I
in a
hadn't even
stinker
heard of
so
it.
we could give something a lower rating.
Or comparison, right? You know.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. It's, and then whatever shenanigans we get up to whenever we get up to them. But thanks.
Very cool. And thank you for posting those links, Jill.
You're welcome.
And Gorilla, anything you want to share about your channel?
Well, Wednesday we're doing a Beyond Belief watch party. Thursday I'm defending the episode Elysium from Strange New Worlds. And then Saturday's Babylon 5 watch party. Then Sunday I was thinking of watching either To Kill a Mockingbird or Time to Kill.
Well, I don't. I love To Kill a Mockingbird, but that's another book. I just read an article today that's being banned. It's like, oh, how heartbreaking.
Well, it's been banned so many times.
Well, it's certain states. It's like it's growing. It's a growing thing, and we lost another state to certain books, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you wonder.
Good old Harper Lee, and you guys know she just passed away a few years ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess she did, didn't she?
Yeah, she was in an old folks' home. Sad to say.
That was the only book she ever wrote, wasn't it?
No, she did write a sequel to it. She wrote
yeah,
a
I guess
sequel
she did, didn't she? Yeah.
And that one was only released recently, wasn't it?
Right, just before her death, right? Because she had refused to publish it, but they finally convinced her right before she died. And I do need to check it out. And it's interesting. I'm surprised they haven't made a movie about it, but maybe they can't with her not giving them permission.
But the movie based on the book is pretty good. The original.
I heard reviews at the time. People were saying it wasn't as good as the original, but who knows?
Well, it's difficult.
But that's different. Right, and that's a matter of perspective. Yes. It was supposed to be about Scout grown up, if I remember right, the sequel. And DVP, is there anything I can share about your channel?
Well, I haven't got a whole lot to say. I still haven't got around to actually doing any videos or actually getting around to streaming anything, but I just got basically my music playlists and stuff, pretty much, I suppose.
Very cool. What kind of music do you like?
Oh, all kinds. It's probably mostly rock, popular stuff, classic rock, punk rock.
Punk rock.
Yeah. You like punk rock?
I do.
Oh, cool. We'll have to have a discussion about that one of these days.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. Very cool.
Yeah, I should actually get around to figuring out how to do a live stream one of these days and pick a topic and then I could just, invite folks to come on and chat.
Oh, yes, Captain. I didn't forget transmedia canonical verisimilitude. I just didn't say the whole thing. And Captain Time Lord also gave this episode an A. He says, I give any episode with a planet of hot lesbians an A+.
Ooh, where did I miss that?
Yeah, you did miss that. And I know you were looking for ratings for the episode, so I didn't want to skip it. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
There we go. I have no arguments with that. In fact, you know what's funny? I mean, aren't the men lucky that they were all good looking? I mean, it could have been the other way around, right? It could have been not so attractive.
It's like that scene in Monty Python where the guy gets to request how he's going to die, and he requests that he be chased off of a mountain cliff by 100 topless roller skaters or something.
Oh, man.
The best answer is if anybody ever asks you, how do you want to die? Your answer is old age.
So I guess if you're going to die of getting your life force strained, you want it to be by someone who is beautiful.
Right. At least make it worth it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well go out with a smile.
Is there anything else anybody would like to bring in before we show the trailer for next week?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
No,
Okay,
I think
Jill,
we're
guess
good.
Nothing comes to mind.
Once again, thank you everybody for joining us. Before we leave, Jill is going to be showing the trailer for the episode that we are going to cover next week. Everybody in the chat out there and on the reruns, it means a lot to me. I really do appreciate it. And like I said, tomorrow I'll join Jill on Antiderivative Jill's channel for a review of the TOS. Thank you, Jill.
You're welcome.
And do I need to share your screen again? Let me see.
Yes.
I got to scroll up. Here we go.
Captain's Log Supplemental. Our rescue effort has given us some knowledge of the new Klingon weapon and the presence of Cyrano Jones.
Is there an echo?
I don't hear an echo.
Oh, okay. It's just me then. Okay.
Didn't notice one, but...
Also, there's a captain's Comment,
excited. The return of Stanley Adams. Oh, I'm excited. I can't wait.
All right.
And
And
thank you, Captain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Captain. I'm going to try to check out more of your streams if I can get my hours and coordinated.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the chat there, Captain.
And thank you to any
Cheers.
lurkers and anyone listening on the replay.
Yeah,
We'll
thank
see
you,
you all
everybody.
next time.
Mm.
Thank you.
Intergalactic traitor and general nuisance. And he's got triples with him. Triples!
Pink triple.
Aren't you going to sit down, sir? I think I'll stand. Someday I'll learn.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And yes, they definitely play temporary music from TOS.
Yep.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
That
and
was
if you're
great.
looking for something to watch next, please head on over to Clobbering Times for his Mark C Comics review or whatever you're doing tonight.
Thank you, Jill.
Yep,
I
yep.
appreciate that.
Hmm.
And once again, everybody, big hugs to everybody out there on the panel and in the chat. Please take care, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Depending on where you're at, try to stay cool. And I will see you, most of you, tomorrow on Jill's channel. Have a great night, everybody.
We'll see